And a very happy Thursday to you at 12:09 in the West. Talk Radio 790 KABC, the John Phillips Show, broadcasting live from the Morongo Casino Resort and Spa Living Room Studios. And it's going to be a warm weather weekend this weekend, a perfect day to lounge in the pool over at Morongo. Mr. Randy Wang's at the sports desk in Culver City.
John, when London Breed gets pissed off, sometimes she goes full Cecily Myart Cruz.
And less tolerant of all the bull that has destroyed our city.
But today, London Breed went full Oprah.
Good morning, everyone. I'm San Francisco Mayor London Breed, and I want to welcome you all to Alamo Square.
What did she give him at the end of the episode?
An excuse for why cops can't chase after people stealing cars.
Well, that sounds like San Francisco.
You don't have to do this. I'm San Francisco Mayor London Breed, and I want to welcome you all to Alamo Square.
Was your friend Gail King there, too?
Gail's not stepping foot in San Francisco.
What about Stedman? Does she have him locked back up at home?
All to Alamo Square.
She going to start raising money for Maui?
You know, she could actually do the you get a car, you get a car, you get a car, because car thefts in San Francisco have spiked.
You steal a car, and you steal a car, and you steal a car.
At the end of the day,
it's just when you have fun with the car and then light it on fire in Oakland, the one thing they do efficiently over there is take the car bones and put them in the junkyard.
That is the one accomplishment of Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao. This is what she said at her State of the Union yesterday.
And due to Oakland's increase in investment, we are on pace right now to double the number of abandoned, burned out, and blighted vehicles removed from our streets in Oakland.
That is quite a metric of success.
Do the cars burn brightly in Oakland, Sheng Tao?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
800-222-KABC is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. We still do not have a Speaker of the House in Washington, D.C. Apparently, they were voting earlier today, and no one has the votes to be the next Speaker of the House. There is absolutely no end in sight to this, and if they can't get their act together, we're in danger, Randy, of having the government shut down again.
That's right. By mid-November, the quick little patchwork that Kevin McCarthy got through before he got kicked out expires, and then the government will not be funded. Congress still gets paid, but the soldiers don't. Now, apparently, Johnny, in this meeting where Jim Jordan realized he didn't have the votes finally, apparently there was so much cursing it sounded like an LA City Council meeting.
We're finally going to get to the point to where every government meeting sounds like that. Now, I have a prediction to make. My prediction is not a date. I do not know when someone will have the votes to be the next Speaker of the House. My prediction is not a name. I do not know who will be the next individual elected to be Speaker of the House. My prediction is simply this. If we keep going without a speaker and they keep meeting and not being able to come up with the votes, at some point, some member of Congress is going to slug Matt Gaetz. That's my prediction. Because he's the one that started all of this, but he didn't have a plan as to what to do next. He knew he wanted to take the speaker out because he didn't like the speaker for some reason or another, which I'm still not clear why that is, but whatever. He doesn't like the cut of his jib. Okay, let's take him out. He took out Kevin McCarthy and had no plan B. They first started promoting that Congressman Scalise from Louisiana. He didn't have the votes. Then it's Jim Jordan. He didn't have the votes. Now it's the guy with the bow tie, McHenry. He doesn't have the votes. And I don't even know who's next on the list.
At this point, the GOP House is caught
me with my pants down.
No kidding. And apparently, Matt Gaetz is behaving about as obnoxious as you can behave in these closed-door meetings. He speaks out of turn. He won't shut up. When it's time for someone else to start speaking, he just keeps going. Apparently, Kevin McCarthy screamed at him. And when Matt Gaetz was asked about that later on by a reporter, he said that he forgives Kevin McCarthy because he's going through the stages of grief. Apparently, after Kevin McCarthy screamed at him, someone else screamed at him again and also threw the F word at him.
Boy.
At some point, tempers are going to boil over. And if I had to make a prediction as to which one will slug him first, my guess is that Ukrainian woman from Ohio. But that's just a guess. So that's the chaos going on right now in Washington, D.C. We, of course, produce our own chaos here back at home. Our governor, Gavin Newsom, was planning on going on a trip to China. He's still going to do that. But apparently, Randy, he's going to make a stop before he gets to China.
That's right. An international trip for a sitting governor of the state of California to China. Well,
but it just didn't feel big enough.
So he's also going to Israel.
How do you even go to Israel right now? Didn't the airlines cancel all of their flights and they're bringing people out of that country on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship?
I don't think he's flying economy.
Rhapsody of the Seas. That's the cruise ship. Taking people out of Israel and then into, I believe it is Cyprus. And it's already done one mission, and there's rumors that it's going to go back and do a second one. But if you wanted to go to Israel, what do you go on orbits right now and just say, okay, I need to find some shady airline that can fly in between the rockets? Or do you have to fly into some other country and sneak across the border?
He's going to go to Egypt and start walking along the Gaza Strip.
He's got to wear a disguise.
He's going.
A camel.
Now, here's the question. Who asked him to go?
Oh, no one asked him to go. Are you kidding? That's a war zone. The last thing you need when you're trying to take care of terrorists who are killing your people and kidnapping your people is some publicity whore who's going over there to do a photo shoot.
Totally understand why Biden went yesterday. Have no idea why the governor of California needs to go to Israel.
No, I don't even recognize a reason that Biden should be there. There's no point that he could make there that he can't make here. And if he gets blown up... He gets blown up over there. Look what we're left with.
He's a lion, dog-faced pony soldier.
Now, unless and until they get rid of Kamala Harris, not only should he never go to a war zone, I don't even think you should let him go upstairs.
We are doing it.
You should have one of those escalators that they have at LAX for him to get to the plane and from the plane.
Quite frankly.
But Gavin Newsom is over in Israel. Because there's no problems to deal with here in California, he's decided to go to a war zone. How much you want to bet he comes back with some Walter Mitty fantasies about him participating in the war?
Oh, I sure hope that doesn't happen.
Well, Hillary Clinton did that. Remember when she was in, was it Bosnia or Kosovo? She claimed she got shot at when she was getting on the helicopter. And I think Brian Williams did the same thing.
Oh, that's what derailed him from being the host of the nightly news.
That's right. Because he totally made it up. If you're Gavin Newsom, you can't go over to Israel while that country's at war and just say, oh, yeah, I had the falafel. No, you got to come back with some war story.
We've been on the receiving end.
I'm sure he's very mindful while he's over there.
That is something we are mindful of.
All right. We got a lot going on in the world today, but of course, crime in the state of California never stops, thanks to our dearly beloved elected officials and their idiotic policies that have wrecked public safety in the state. And Randy, today we've got a doozy.
That's right, but for that, we're going to have to open up the KABC Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And Randy, today's entry is a frequent flyer of sorts.
That's right. We're now a couple of weeks into this grand experiment in Los Angeles County called Zero Bail. Well, now we're starting to see some of the effects of Zero Bail. A crazy woman who goes on a crime spree that should have been put away, but was out on zero bail to commit more crime sprees. This all happened in the San Fernando Valley. For more, we have a report from Fox 11.
36-year-old Jacqueline Wadley is being charged with attempted murder in relation to a series of fires out here overnight. But she had been arrested last weekend, allegedly for ramming a vehicle into a couple of businesses, which in LA County is considered a no-bail offense.
Let that sink in for a minute. You can run your car into a couple of businesses, and that's a no-bail offense.
Unless you run somebody over, apparently ramming your vehicle into a business is a nonviolent crime.
Why is it that you would do that to a couple of businesses? I guess I can understand the logic if you're going to rob a business. So you drive the car into the business. You then take whatever it is that you want to take out of the business. You steal it, and then you leave. Why would you then have two indentations of front doors in your car?
Well, maybe you've got a screw loose and you thought the business looked at you funny.
That's true.
Oil on my head by Tabitha Brown.
Audible, despite police radio chatter, is a handcuffed woman describing her hair routine to LAPD officers.
Oh, boy, we got a crazy one.
Oh, dear.
Detaining her as a suspect in several overnight fires. One at a house off North Nagel. This one at the beloved Mark's Garden Flower Shop off Ventura. LA City fire officials saying this fire was started outside and spread inside.
So imagine you get busted for ramming your car into a building, you get cited and released, and the first thing you think to do is start setting the whole valley on fire.
And then the second thing that you do is tell the cops all about Pantene Pro V.
One of several vegetation, garbage, or debris fires in the area, including a vehicle and a tent with people inside.
I didn't sleep the whole night because
She lit a homeless person on fire, too?
Boy, is there any box she didn't check?
I didn't sleep the whole night because...
If only we could have held the person that was a danger to society from society.
Oh, no. No, what we got was accountability.
I didn't sleep the whole night because I was hearing all the sounds.
Residents near the burned home were off camera. The owner says he is lucky his son noticed flames outside the front door when he got up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, or they might not have gotten out alive.
Oh my gosh. What do you say? Hey, Daddy, there's a crazy woman lighting her house on fire again. Again? Yeah, again.
She's got a gas can, and she's pouring it all over our front lawn, but her hair looks fantastic.
Oh, yes. It's full-bodied.
Oh, my gosh. That's crazy.
His reaction as much to the destruction of the flower shop as the reports that the same woman had been arrested this last weekend.
Why am I being Somebody report this!
According to LAPD, she allegedly rammed a car into the front of a coffee bean and sushi place off Hillhurst Avenue near
Wait
Los
a minute. She rammed her car into a coffee bean and sushi place?
Yes. She rammed it so hard, she ran into the coffee bean and tea leaf and also rammed into the sushi place.
Will she knock out the tea leaf? Because that wasn't even mentioned.
And sushi place off Hillhurst Avenue near Los Feliz. The vehicle she was supposedly driving engulfed in flames as they took her into custody.
That's how she got her taste for fire.
Oh, yes. One incident like that, and poof, we've got a firebug on our hands.
Sometimes you just feel a little burn, and most people, when they feel that burn, they move their hand away, they're scared, they try never go near fire again. And then there's some people that get a little bit of a thrill out of it.
Well, maybe she credits the fire for getting rid of her split ends.
If she was arrested, what she was doing here?
Yeah, well, that's what happens when we have no cash bail.
Indeed, she'd been released on her own recognizance. It seems that despite LAPD confirming a person inside the coffee shop was nearly struck while the driver kept slamming the vehicle into the businesses, she was arrested for vandalism.
Wait, she kept slamming it in?
Yes, and she almost ran over somebody that was in the coffee bean holding his tea leaf. And that's she got arrested for vandalism.
So wait, so she runs the car through the coffee bean and tea leaf, and then she creates debris. So then what does she do? Throw it in reverse and then throw it back in drive and slam on the gas again?
And that's when she hit the sushi bar.
She was arrested for vandalism, which fell under LA County's no bail policy. The owner of Mark's...
Can we admit this is a failure yet?
Oh, no. Randy, again, I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. This is accountability.
I mean, it's not just about money. It's about damn accountability.
The owner of Mark's Garden say they'll rebuild. They have been here for 30 years. They don't want to comment on the suspect, but area residents have plenty to say.
When they closed down the state-run mental institutions years ago, it's been a slow cascade, and we're reaping the benefits or the suffering the causes now.
We need to lock them up. I know it fills up our prisons. We don't have enough room, but we need to do something.
I don't hear anybody saying zero bail sounds like a great idea.
Oh, no. No. You see, we used to put people like this in mental institutions, but that is inhumane. So now we do the humane thing, which is make everyone in the state live in one great big mental institution.
Gascon's office not commenting on that, but they are telling me that on last weekend's case, they returned it to LAPD for further investigation.
Oh, so Gascon didn't even want to file the charges of the woman that destroyed the coffee bean and the tea leaf in the sushi bar.
Again, accountability.
And that it was LAPD that called it vandalism and actually released her. She is now being held on $1 million bail.
So Gascon's office is claiming the LAPD are the ones that are soft on crime.
This is what Gascon does. This is classic George Gascon. He embraces all of these idiotic policies that turn our state into a war zone. And then when it is glaringly obvious, you have a case study that proves that what he's doing is a complete disaster, he always blames someone else. You notice that? He never takes responsibility for his actions.
Quite frankly.
Ever. If he were to take responsibility for his actions, Randy, that would also be accountability.
I mean, it's not just about money. It's about damn accountability.
Where's the accountability for the florist that lost his shop that he had for 30 years because this wacko with fantastic hair decided to light it on fire last night?
How much jail time do you think she's going to do after all of this?
Let's see if she gets zero bail a second time. Because, it wasn't a violent fire.
No, it was a very peaceful fire. Very peaceful. She just got her calendar screwed up. She thought it was the 4th of July. Maybe she could say she did it in the name of the environment. Selling flowers? That means you're clipping flowers. Flowers should be in the ground. That flower shop is causing global warming. Time for me to light it on fire.
Maybe the flower shop had a bunch of eucalyptus plants, and she needed to burn those because she was out of shampoo.
Have you seen what this woman looks like?
Yes.
Does she look as crazy or less crazy as Greta Thunberg?
Oh, crazier, with a gigantic afro that is just beautifully, beautifully trimmed.
Well, another vote for the new Jan Brady. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
That's right. Will writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com on the coffee bean maniac. The guy inside the coffee bean who almost got hit, Caesar, worked there for 3 years. It was after hours around 12:30 when the crackhead destroyed 2 businesses. The no bail, mostly peaceful vandalism is estimated to be $80,000.
Oh,
No,
good Lord.
no bail? Thanks, Gascon.
We got some wobbly knees allies.
Randy, I'm getting a lot of notes from my eulogy of Suzanne Summers that I gave earlier this week. People are listening to the podcast, and they're sending us very kind notes about that. If you missed the eulogy of Suzanne Summers and you want to go back and listen to it, Randy, that's easy to do.
That's right. Just go to KABC.com, click on podcast, Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify, search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe, or the easiest way, download the new KABC app. Search KABC AM in the Apple App Store or the Android Store, and you have the easiest way to listen live on the stream whenever you're outside the AM radio area, and you can download all the podcasts, including Monday's first hour, John Remembers Suzanne Summers.
Randy, this story is an update to a story that we did earlier in this week from the city and county of San Francisco.
That's right. Earlier in the week, we played you parts of a London Breed press conference where Mayor Breed explained that apparently, according to some state laws, law enforcement is no longer allowed to arrest people for selling stolen goods. It has gotten so out of hand that in places like the Mission District, people who have stolen things from stores like Dior or Nordstrom's or whatever are selling it out in the open, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. The only thing the city can do is send public works personnel to deal with it. And here's one public works spokesperson who explains what happens to the public works employees who try to confiscate the stolen goods.
Our inspectors have been offered bulletproof vests. Some of them are availing themselves to that opportunity. They are wearing them. They've been punched. They've been poked. They've had things thrown at them.
They don't want to send the cops in.
They can't.
Yes, that would be against the law, and cops are bad right now, according to all of the woke people. So let's send in people who have absolutely no training on how to deal with dangerous situations and see what happens.
People that do not have the power to arrest, and they're getting beat up by the criminals who are still selling the stolen goods. So the only thing San Francisco can think to do at this point is to ban all street vending in the Mission for 90 days so they can get a hold of the insane situation that's going on there. And that's not going over very well with the legitimate street vendors.
No. And when they decided to put this law on the books, it was who? Jerry Brown who did this?
This law, which I would finally discovered which one it was, SB 946, which was passed in the legislature and signed by Jerry Brown in 2018, his last year in office. It was called the Safe Sidewalk Vending Act. This law decriminalizes sidewalk vending in California and allows local authorities to adopt non-criminal laws to protect public health, safety, and welfare.
This was all about illegal aliens. This was Jerry Brown trying to make it so that illegal alien street vendors didn't have to interact with the cops, because the cops scare the illegal alien street vendors because they are here illegally in many cases, and they're afraid of being asked to show their papers.
A loophole that was discovered soon after this law was signed is that if you are fencing stolen goods, the cops can't touch you. You can openly sell obviously stolen goods, maybe still with the security tag on them, and there's nothing law enforcement can do. You cannot be arrested. We have created even more incentives to steal. Why do you think all the smash and grabs are happening? Because people can sell this crap right out in the open. As much as people like Karen Bass want to blame eBay, it's not going on eBay. It's going on right in the middle of the street. This is happening in the Mission. This is definitely also happening in downtown LA and at every single swap meet and flea market. And there's nothing anybody can do about it because the California State Legislature and Jerry Brown said law enforcement cannot be involved.
I don't even think you can call this an underground economy because it's happening right in front of your face. They're not even trying to be discreet about it because they know they can't be arrested. And as you said correctly, this is emboldening all of those smash and grabs. The smash and grabs are the producers of the products. They then take those products and they give them to other people, and the other people sell them at the flea markets. If you sell it online or you, I guess, do something else with it, the profit margin is probably not the same if you sell it on the street, because you're selling goods on the street right next to the stores that are selling them legitimately. So you only have to undercut the store by a small percentage, and everyone is going to come to you for the merchandise, and no one's going to go to this legitimate store, which is one of the reasons that the stores keep going under.
5 years after this law was passed, we are seeing a separate class of people that has been created that is immune to law enforcement.
And they know it. See, we think that criminals are dumb, and many of them are, but they're not that dumb. They know that they're bulletproof right now. They know that there's nothing that can be done to them. The cops can't even arrest them to get to the district attorney that won't charge them with anything. We have now emboldened every single crook in the state of California, and when they're that emboldened, by the way, this goes back to the broken windows theory. When you know you can get away with breaking the law, you up the ante, and up the ante, which makes them violent too. This is us as a state circling the drain collectively.
Now, John, when we come back, we'll hear how the vendors in the Mission feel about this new 90-day ban on all street vending that will definitely not solve the problem.
We're going through the details of a very disturbing law here in California that essentially makes individuals selling stolen merchandise on the street bulletproof and immune from being arrested by the cops.
It's called SB 946. It was passed in 2018. It decriminalized all sidewalk vending and allows local authorities, which means the counties had to allow non-law enforcement to deal with sidewalk vendors, non-criminal laws. So if there is someone selling stolen goods on the streets of L.A. or San Francisco, law enforcement is not allowed to do anything about it. They need to have public health or public works deal with it, and those people are getting attacked.
That's right. They're not trained to deal with violent criminals. They're not armed. They don't have the power to arrest anyone. So we're sending in the little lambs to be slaughtered.
For more on all this, here's KTVU Fox 2.
New at 10 in San Francisco, one supervisor wants to ban vendors along Mission Street. The goal to address illegal fencing operations as well as safety issues for those trying to keep the streets clean. KTVU's Alice Wirtz live tonight at San Francisco City Hall with the story. Alice?
That's right, Mike. It was here at City Hall earlier today. We spoke with Supervisor Hillary Ronan. She wants to ban vendors on Mission Street to help for safety issues that are tasked by those that are responsible for cleaning up the streets. Supervisor Hillary Ronan wants to take a harder stance with vendors on Mission Street. It's a safety issue for city employees.
DPW employees who are enforcing the law are wearing bulletproof vests.
Jesus Christ.
You see, this is where the public employee unions drop the ball. Public employee unions are very good at getting lucrative contracts, good health care, decent pensions, but when it comes to the day-to-day workplace safety of their employees, they don't really seem to care that much.
To work every day. They've had their lives threatened. They've been assaulted.
A state law instituted in 2018.
Why are we putting our public works employees in harm's way? Oh, it's the law. I'm pretty sure if you work in public works, you don't get the pension at 50.
No. If I worked at Public Works, by the way, I would resign my position.
That's what's happening.
I would not go to a dangerous situation day in and day out without the capabilities of protecting myself. And if something were to happen where you were to defend yourself after someone attacks you and the other individual were to get hurt or die or something bad were to happen to them, you know it would all be blamed on you.
State law instituted in 2018 made street vending legal, but that's led to problems on Mission Street.
Senate Bill 946 doesn't allow SFPD to enforce laws relating to vendors at all.
Well, she's half right. SB 946 does do that as long as the county votes to allow it. And San Francisco, like Los Angeles, opted in to this BS policy.
That's right. So all of these supervisors who are complaining about this, all of these politicians who are hand-wringing over the crime and the stolen merchandise being stolen on the streets, it's not good enough to just complain. You have to want to repeal this idiotic law.
London Breed said as much the other day. Hillary Ronan, she just wants to ban all street vending.
Senate Bill 946 doesn't allow SFPD to enforce laws relating to vendors at all.
A recent fencing operation led to Public Works employees seizing hundreds of stolen goods, which some say is not unusual in this area, but other sellers seem to be legitimate.
I bring my own stuff, you know what I mean?
Brandon comes up from
Sunnyvale
to sell his unwanted stuff.
What do you sell? Anything. Cords, socks, hats.
Who is buying socks on the street?
No one. No one. He's selling whatever it is that he stole from Target.
Whether it's stolen or not, who is buying socks on the mission?
What do you sell? Anything. Cords, socks, hats, tools, anything. I mean, anything and everything, they'll buy it right here. I used to donate the stuff to the Goodwill, but instead of doing that.
So he has junk that he wants to get rid of, and instead of donating it or throwing it out, he takes it up to the mission to sell it.
Okay, here's where that doesn't make sense. If you're selling used socks and you're selling used cords, that's a garage sale. He doesn't live in San Francisco. He lives in one of the suburbs. And if you're selling your own personal stuff, it's not like there's a constant supply that keeps coming in. You do your spring cleaning, you find all your junk that you want to get rid of, you get rid of it, and you move on. It's not like week in and week out you have more unused materials from your own personal house that you're going to sell on the street. All of this stuff is stolen.
I used to donate the stuff to the Goodwill, but instead of doing that, if I can make a few bucks on it, why not?
For vendors, it can be a way of survival, especially for new arrivals and those suffering from poverty.
It's how these people bring food to their families. It's a way that these people survive.
Ronan says the mission isn't the only area where vendors are a problem. It's citywide.
Our small businesses are about to shut down because people can't get into their stores.
No, their stores have been smashed and grabbed, and the people selling the stuff they stole are right in front of the store, and they can't be touched.
And this is what's going to happen. They're going to turn this into a social justice issue. If and when we ever get serious about cracking down on smash and grabs and cracking down on selling stolen merchandise on the streets, there are people who have been doing this and paying their bills by doing this for years now. The allegation is going to be, well, you can't stop them from stealing. You can't stop them from selling stolen merchandise. How do you expect them to pay their mortgage? This is their occupation. This is what they do. You would disadvantage all of these communities and criminalize all of these communities if you just suddenly told them to stop stealing and selling it. You think I'm kidding? I'm not.
We're going to be following this story because this is insanity, California insanity at its best.
And you know what? Jerry Brown also gets treated like he's this sage man, like he's a guy that really understands California government better than anyone else. This is the disaster that he left behind. And since no one pays attention to anything that goes on up there, he gets a complete free pass. But all of these politicians that are criticizing this bill should be criticizing Jerry Brown in the legislature, too, because they're the ones that gave it to us. Don't act like it just dropped from a spaceship. It didn't. We have this law on the books because our elected officials put it there. You get the government you deserve. And apparently we don't deserve much. All right, we've got 2 more hours coming up on the John Phillips Show. The Fix California hour's next. Yesterday we spoke with a candidate running for DA. Didn't go well. Today we're going to try a new one. This is Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Good morning, everyone. I'm San Francisco Mayor London Breed, and I want to welcome you all to Alamo Square.